There we go. Can you hear me now? I'm here. It's time to get this going. Thank you for telling me there was no sound, because you know how I always mess that up when I start a live stream. Okay, you can hear me now? All right, good. Okay, hi everyone. I said hello to everyone in chat earlier when my microphone was muted, so I'll try it again. Hi Sugar Butt, hi Weird Mom AF, Rosie, Jess, glad you guys are here. Hi Sam, hi Bobby, Miss Wee Lassie here from Scotland. Hi Mama Bear, and everyone else that I said hi to earlier. Hi Catnip. I'm sorry that my mic was muted, but I did say hi to everyone in chat, so please just accept my hellos and welcome, and I'm glad you're here. Hi Jungle Kimmy, hope you're doing well. We got a lot to talk about. You know, this case does not disappoint. If you want to talk about the tea and the gossip, there's certainly a lot of it. Oh, my goodness. Hi, Mag. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're listening, even if you can't chat. I hope you have fun at work. Hi, RD and AC. Oh, all right. Amanda Thompson. Hi. I'm glad you're here. You're not late. I just got started. All right. So there's a lot going on. Now, on the surface, we really just have this one document in front of us that's new. But this one document has opened quite a problem. So we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about everything. And we're going to go through Mark Means' tweets. You guys know that I love to go at Mark Means for his tweets. And I've had to go at him on Twitter several times before. But today we're actually going to talk about the content of his tweets, not so much pick on him for the grammar and spelling, because, you know, I'm in a good mood today. I'm feeling nice, benevolent or something. Hi, Paul. I'm glad you're here. Paul and I just got off the phone. We've been talking about all the news, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. Some of it I can tell you about, some I can't. But I've been busy. I've been on the phone all day. I ate breakfast about half an hour ago because I've just been that busy. So I got a lot to tell you. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with what we know. We'll get to the speculation hour later, but there's some stuff that we know. So let's talk about that and try and keep everything on target. You know, I don't like to do a lot of speculation and rumors and all that, but we kind of have to go there tonight a little bit. So we're going to start with this document that's up on the screen. Let me find it here so I can read it to you. Where did it go? All right, here we go. I'm going to read it real quick. This is from Len Humphreys of Fremont County Sheriff. He said, yesterday, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office received the autopsy report on Tammy Daybell's body from the Utah Medical Examiner. The contents of this report will not be made public at this time, as it is evidence in an open and ongoing investigation. We will release additional information as it becomes available. Excuse me. Okay, that's kind of a big deal. All right, as we know, Tammy Daybell was exhumed on December 12th of 2019. And in January of 2020, police executed their first search warrant on the Daybell property in Salem, Idaho. All right, and then the only thing we heard after that was in April, when investigators said that they are looking at Tammy Daybell's death, and they are looking at Chad and Lori for possible conspiracy to commit murder charges, and attempted murder. So we've known that since last April that they were looking at all of this. And then we didn't hear anything. All right, we have no idea what's in this report. It was just released yesterday, right? But we don't get to see it. So, you know, we don't know. But there are some clues that we have that can tell us which direction this is pointing. So we're going to go through those. Now, the statement was one thing, but the other interesting thing that happened, and let me put this up on the screen. This is, which one do we want? Let's start with this one. Give me 1 second. I can make sure I get the right one on the screen that I'm talking about so you know what I'm saying. There was a transfer of this case between the Idaho Attorney General and the Fremont County Prosecutor. I'm looking for gotta get the right file. Let's start here. ETBK0F. ETBK0F. This should be a lot easier. That one, share. Okay, this one. Now let's talk about the background of what happened with this case so we understand what is transpiring right now. All right, this letter is dated February 1st of this year from Lindsay Blake, who is the newly elected Fremont County prosecutor. All right, she says, or this is a note to her from the Idaho AG. It said in April 2020, your predecessor, Marsha Murdoch, requested prosecutorial assistance from this office related to the death of Tammy Daybell pursuant to blah, 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 which permits a county prosecuting attorney to request the assistance of the Idaho Attorney General's office. This office, meaning the Idaho Attorney General, agreed to provide the requested assistance in a letter to Ms. Murdoch on April 9th of 2020. That was right before we got that information that they were looking at Chad and Lori in connection to Tammy's death. Okay, so that's important. By a signed agreement between Fremont County Prosecutor's Office and the Idaho Attorney General's Office, the Attorney General's Office assumed full responsibility and authority for the case on April 9, 2020, and has been investigating the case and providing prosecutorial assistance regarding this case since that time. As the newly elected Fremont County Prosecutor, you have requested the Attorney General's Office return the Tammy Daybell case to your office. This office only had jurisdiction to investigate and prosecute the case due to your predecessor's request for assistance and the mutual agreement signed on April 9, 2020. Since you have now withdrawn that request for assistance, we will return the matter to your office. Effective immediately, the Idaho Attorney General's Office relinquishes full responsibility and authority for the case to the Fremont County Prosecutor's Office, and all decisions regarding the case shall be the responsibility of your office. As a result, this office will no longer take any action to investigate or provide prosecutorial assistance in the case. Yada, yada, yada. Now, what does that mean? Well, basically what it means is in April of 2020, the Fremont County Prosecutor's Office asked the state attorney general for help. Now, why would they do that? Because money, basically. All right. The state attorney general's office has a lot more money and resources to investigate stuff. They can do a lot more forensic testing. They got a lot more investigators on the ground. They just have more resources. So they asked the Idaho attorney general to step in on the Tammy Daybell case. Right, and they've been working on it ever since. But now their investigation is done. Okay, especially with the finality of this autopsy. Their investigation is done. And now it is back in the hands of the Fremont County prosecutor. All right, and Rob Wood is a special prosecutor with Fremont County. Okay, so now that office has the complete authority to prosecute and any continuing investigations, but they no longer require the assistance of the attorney general. That's all that is. That's not a big, political, we're trying to protect our turf kind of thing. No, it's really just a money issue. And now their investigation is done. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, basically, it means that, see, I can't even say that because I know what I think it means, but there's a very slim chance I could be wrong. So we're going to have to dump into what this means. As we know, we have seen autopsy results for other cases connected to Lori Vallow. Okay, we have Joseph Ryan, right? They ruled natural causes. We have Alex Cox. They ruled natural causes, right? Now, we may disagree with that, but that's what the autopsy results show. That's what the tox screens show. They died of natural causes. And they released that information as soon as those were done, right? They didn't hold it back, or they didn't say, oh, we're going to release it, but we're not going to tell you. This is an ongoing investigation. They didn't say that. They said, here it is. This is what we got. They didn't do that in this case. They said, hey, we can't tell you what it says because there's an ongoing investigation that has now been turned back over to the Fremont County Prosecutor's Office. Interesting. Now, I had a lot of conversations today with people about this case. Some very intelligent, well-learned people, criminal defense attorneys, and so on and so forth, to try and figure out what on earth is actually going on. And my idea from everything that I've learned today and pieced everything together is, imagine a police interrogation, right? They've got their murder suspect. They just got to get maybe one more piece of evidence to put it all together, and they got a slam dunk case. So what do they do during an interrogation? An interrogation, a technical interrogation, is to get a confession out of their suspect. So they'll bring their suspect in, they throw all the evidence down on the table. You get crime scene photos, a murder weapon, all this stuff, and they put it on the table right in front of the suspect and say, you see this? We got you. You need to start talking. All this stuff right here, we're going to put you away for life. You have one chance to tell us the truth and maybe plead down a little bit. and maybe not get the electric chair. Here's your chance, right? And they do that during interrogation to not coerce, but to let the suspect know that they really should start telling the truth. All right. And when we take a case like this, here's what I think, and this is purely my speculation. Please understand that, okay? I know nothing concrete, but what I am speculating based on all the conversations I have had that make a lot of sense from smarter legal minds than mine, is that Rob Wood is kind of maybe doing that in this situation with this autopsy report, right? So he goes to John Pryor, Mark Means, and says, hey, look, you see this? You bet your clients better start talking, or they're going up the river or down the river, however that expression goes. So that's probably why it's not been released, because he's using it as leverage to maybe get these people to talk. You know, their only chance may be to confess and plead down from a death penalty charge. You know, and that would save the state millions of dollars. It would save years of litigation. You know, that would be the best case scenario for the prosecutor, to just get them to confess. And if you've got enough evidence about them, maybe they'll be like, yeah, you know what? All right, we'll confess. Maybe. I don't know. That's speculation. I would assume, certainly Rob Wood knows what's in this report, obviously. And I would assume that he's probably shared some of that information with the defense counsel, being like, you guys, I'm telling you, you don't want to go to trial. It's not going to end well for you. Now's your chance to plea. So, you know, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Salty says, so nothing is something. Yeah, in this case, I think nothing is something. I do. I think nothing is something. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens with this. I would not be surprised to see charges coming in the next week. I wouldn't. I would not be surprised. I think we've been waiting all this time. Everyone's asking, where are the murder charges? Where are the murder charges? Maybe we've been waiting for this. Maybe we've been waiting to tie all the little pieces together. Now that we've got Joseph's case, I guess, settled, not in the way I like. I don't think it was always natural causes. I don't think Alex died of natural causes. But those are settled now. So now the prosecutor knows what to focus on. Tylee, JJ, Tammy. You know? Now that we've got it all in one nice bundle, maybe we're going to see charges. You know, it's quite possible. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with that. Let's see. Are there any other things? I wanted to show you. There are a few other documents as far as the transfer of the case from the Idaho AG to the prosecutor's office. They are posted in Discord if you want to read them. It's nothing special, nothing great. Don't even bother showing them on screen. But I want to talk about Mark Means and his tweets, because, you know, I love to talk about Mark Means and his tweets. But I'm going to be nice to Mark Means. I'm kind of developing a soft spot for him. And don't come for me. But because he is trying to do the right thing. Now, I don't know which tab is which. 1.6. They all say 1.6. Let me see. Give me 1 second to see which tab is the first post here. Okay, there we go. I got lucky and got the first post on the first try. All right, we're going to read through these, but first let me talk about Mark Means for a second. All right, and yes, I'm aware this is an unpopular opinion, and y'all want me to be up here with my pitchfork and torches and, you know, roasting him at the spit. I'm not doing that. All right, he is a defense attorney. He is not Lori Vallow. He is not his client. He is trying to do the best he can to keep his client from getting a death penalty conviction. All right, that's his job. And if any of us were accused of a murder, we would want our defense attorney to do the same thing. Okay, so try to not take out all of our frustration at Lori on Mark Means. It's not his fault. He didn't kill anyone. Okay, so that's what I think about Mark Means. However, I don't like these tweets. I don't necessarily disagree with the content of the tweets. I just disagree with the fact that they were tweeted to begin with. Okay, I don't think anyone involved in this case, prosecutor or defense attorney, should be tweeting like this. I know this is not a court of public opinion, or at least it shouldn't be tried in the court of public opinion, because that's not going to help anyone. Jungle Kimmy, I will get you a new link to the Discord. I don't know why it's expired. I thought it was a permanent link. I will get that, and I will get it fixed in the description after the thing. So, yeah, I don't think Mark Means should be tweeting. Although I don't disagree with exactly what he's saying, I just think he shouldn't do it. So let's talk about this tweets. This was the first one he had last night. So I've been asked repeatedly for a comment on the letter issued by Fremont County today regarding the passing of Mrs. Daybell First and foremost, my renewed condolences to her family. Okay. Now, I think if he had stopped there, that probably would have been okay. But no, of course not. We had to go on from there. Let me get the next one up. Next, he goes on to say, is that the next one? No, that's not the next one. Hold on. Why are these out of order? Well, let's go with this one. He's talking about he's talking about when attorney-client communications are or were recorded. Now, he's been on that since last winter. It was like March, maybe last winter, where he did the bond reduction hearing, where he argued the same thing, that he was not able to have privileged communications with his client, which, yes, that's a problem, but that could easily be remedied. There are 100 different ways to remedy that. Clean the meeting room between cases so it's COVID-free or something like that. Even his cell phone idea, which I think is probably pushing it a bit too far, but that could be dealt with. When the attorney is denied access to meet with his client for months, as is the case in Madison County, and he says never the case in Fremont, or when the witnesses are coached on what they want to hear, one must ask themselves. Now, right there, he's talking about the motion to remove Rob Wood as the prosecutor, where the judge denied that motion, so he needs to drop that. Okay, stop bringing that up. Another reason that I'm upset that he brought that up is the recent settlement that we just saw with Brandon. Did y'all see that? I put up a video on that the other day. Brandon Boudreaux won a $12 million settlement against Robert Jarvis and Garrett Smith for defamation. All right. Now, Garrett Smith was called as a witness in their motion to remove Rob Wood as prosecutor. And Garrett Smith testified under oath that Rob Wood was like coercing and coaching Summer Shiflett on what to say. All right. But obviously, we have some issues with the character of Garrett Smith. So if this were to go to trial and they were to introduce Garrett Smith as a witness, that would not end very well, because all Rob Wood has to do is slap down that settlement and be like, look at this. $12 million settlement for defamation because this guy lies all the time. So I don't think Mark Means bringing up Garrett Smith and that issue in this tweet was a smart move. I really don't. But whatever, that's just me. Maybe he knows something I don't. So, Mark, if you're listening, you need to drop the Garrett Smith stuff like quickly. It's not going to help you at all. So, next tweet. These are probably going to be out of order because I don't have them numbered on my screen. So we'll just pick the next one that comes up. Next is this one. Okay. Finally, one must ask yourself. I'm going to ignore the grammar there. I'm just going to pretend. When an attorney is denied access. Oh, wait, I just said that. Oh, no, my screen is too slow. Hold on. YouTube is being slow. All right. Finally, one must ask yourself, when the defense has to fight for the production of evidence, when list of witnesses for the state is produced a year or so after charges are filed, when attorney-client communications are or wrongfully recorded, he's reiterating some of the points at the end of his statement. But the defense has to fight for production of evidence. Not really. Not really. You file your discovery motion, whatever. State turns their things over. It's fine. Maybe there's some confusion. There seems to be some confusion where Mark Means is saying that Rob Wood turned over the hard drive to John Pryor, but not to Mark Means. Well, call him and say, dude, can I look at that? Or, just work it out. It's not, he seems to be saying that the state is doing this intentionally, right? To try and, keep Mark Means down and put the little guy down and not give him his stuff. No, that's not what's happening. It's probably just a logistics issue, and it will be worked out. There is a discovery hearing, a motion to compel hearing on the 17th, where they're going to sit before the judge, and Mark Means can say, hey, I've been asking for all this discovery, and I don't have it yet, and he's giving it to John Pryor, but you don't give it to me. Nah. And you know how that's going to end, right? And everything will be fine. He will get the discovery, okay? But then he's also talking about the list of witnesses for the state is produced a year or so after the charges are filed. It's fine. It's fine. You've got the list now. You have your own witness list. It's going to be just fine. And now the attorney-client communications are or were wrongfully recorded. Well, we don't know that for sure. You better hope you can prove that if you're going to bring that up. But that is a problem. I do think that they absolutely should have their right to the privileged communications. That is a big deal. And I hope that they work that out. But I think that that can be worked out easily enough. Now, somebody just said in chat about a certain person that said the court can't tell the jail what to do. That is absolutely true. The judge cannot call the jail and say, let Lori have a cell phone. The jail would be like, no, right? The judge cannot tell the jail what to do. The judge cannot demand that Lori have private time with her attorney. The judge cannot demand the jail give her a cell phone or anything like that. The judge cannot do that. The judge can say, oh, well, the best I can do is if any of the calls were recorded and that information comes up, we cannot allow it in the trial, right? Because that's fruit of the poisonous tree or something like that. You can't allow that. It'll be inadmissible. So that's about all the judge can do. He may call the jail and be like, hey, can you fix this? But he cannot order the jail. So, whatever. I don't know what Mark Means thinks the judge is going to do about that. He should be maybe trying to work with the jail and try to come up with an adaptation that's good for everyone instead of just tweeting about it. I don't know. Salty, thank you for the super chat. That's a great sticker. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it greatly. All right, let's look at his next tweet. The next one, because these are so much fun. Let's see. Chrome tab. Next. All right, this is what he says. He says, fourth, one must ask why issue this nonsensical statement in what is obviously a media teaser. It appears as further attempt to bias, prejudice the jury pool in a current Fremont case through a not well-organized media campaign at the cost of the citizens of Idaho. Dude. All right. I disagree with this text or this tweet. First of all, it is not obviously a media teaser. Okay. I know firsthand from talking, well, I guess it would be secondhand, talking to other people, that there are a lot of people that call every day to ask for this autopsy report. They are on the medical examiner's case around the clock. Where's the report? Where's the report? They're probably getting tons of FOIA requests and all this stuff for the report that hadn't even existed yet. All right, so there is a lot of media attention on the case. People want this report, and so they did say, okay, we released the report, but it's not public because it's an ongoing case. And none of us in the public here, we do not have a right to that information. Okay, this is an ongoing investigation. It'll come out in court when it's supposed to. We don't automatically have a right to read this. All right, and so what they did was just stem the tide of all the people asking them where it is every day and say, okay, it's released. It's not public yet because that's up to the prosecutor because it's an ongoing case, but it is released. So stop bugging us. Right? I don't think they did that just as a media teaser. However, I can see why he would think it looks that way. All right, I'm not exactly both sidesing that issue, but I can see where it looks that way. All right. And then he says it appears as a further attempt to bias or prejudice the jury. No, it doesn't. I don't think it does, because they said we're not releasing the findings because it's part of an ongoing investigation. That doesn't say which way it's going. It could be that it was natural causes, but they're not saying that because it's still an ongoing investigation. Whatever the report says, it is still an ongoing investigation, and that is privileged information that should not be released publicly. All right. Okay, I get that. So, Layshell, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate the support. That is a cute super sticker. Thank you so much. So, this is Mark Means saying that it also an organized media campaign at the cost of the citizens of Idaho. I totally disagree with that as well. I don't think this was an organized media campaign. This was the sheriff's office saying, hey, we released the file. It's over there with them. Go talk to them if you want it. We're not releasing it publicly. That's it. It wasn't a media campaign. They didn't do a press conference and release it through all their favorite media organizations. They put out a statement. A lot of people, like Justin Lum from Fox 10 News, we love Justin Lum here. You know that he was watching for those statements. And as soon as he sees it, he shares it. Right? That's not an organized media campaign. That's the press doing its job. Okay, and we're lucky that we have reporters like Nate Eaton and Justin Lum and Adam Herbitz who watch this stuff and release this information, because I don't know where to see that. It's not like I have the Fremont County Sheriff's Office on my tweet deck, because you just don't do that. But these reporters do, and that's where we get this information. So I don't consider that an organized media campaign. It's nothing nefarious. And at the cost of the citizens of Idaho, how do you figure that? I don't figure that, because I think the citizens of Idaho want to know this information, right? They really do. They want to know what's going on. So it is to their benefit to say, hey, the report is finished and it has been released to the proper authorities. Period. That's to the benefit. That is information that the public needs to know. That's all they need to know. We've finished the autopsy report. It's in the hands of those who are going to do whatever they need to do about it. Period. So I don't see a problem with that. I disagree with Mark on this one here. Now, let's look at the next one, because there's more. Of course, there's more. There's always more. All right, here we go. And again, these were out of order. I apologize for that, because I didn't have them saved in the right order. This one says, my StreamYard. Thirdly, Fremont County elected coroner ruled her, Mrs. Daybell, death caused by natural causes. All right. This one he should delete, because it's not true. This one to me is very misleading. When I first read that, I was like, wait, what? Who are you talking about? The current Fremont County elected coroner ruled Mrs. Daybell's death caused by natural causes. Oh, that's not how you sentence that. Back when she died in 2019, because Chad didn't want an autopsy. Remember? Chad did not want an autopsy. And in Idaho, they didn't have to do one. Okay, so they said, okay, well, natural causes. Okay, that has nothing to do with this autopsy report. That is a completely separate thing that was back before the exhumation and the suspicion of her death. Okay, remember when she had passed away in her home, her own husband said, oh, we don't need an autopsy. It's just, must have just been natural. And the coroner said, well, okay. They had no reason at that time to suspect anything else. Okay, they had no reason to. But as soon as they got reason to, which wasn't that long after, they exhumed the body and began a formal autopsy. All right, so I think that this tweet is incredibly misleading. And I'm really kind of surprised that he put that out there, because that, to me, that's not cool. All the stuff that Mark Means has been throwing, the shade at Rob Wood, he's turning around and doing this stuff again. And I'm like, dude, you got to stop. You got to stop. Yeah, Sugar, but when I first read this tweet, I was like, wait, what? Is he saying that that's what's in the autopsy report? No, that is not in this autopsy report. It might be, but he's talking about the original coroner who looked at Tammy when she died way back in 2019. Right, so that's a different thing, and that is not what's happening here. So that was a very misleading tweet. And now we got another one. Let me find it. It's in here somewhere. Here we go. All right, this was back from earlier. Again, out of order. Kathy, thank you for the super chat. Look at that hippo. That's adorable. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. It helps me to keep doing this kind of stuff. All right, so this one. Secondly, why is Fremont County issuing a statement? It's my recollection that a Fremont deputy was present during the Fremont coroner's investigation of the Daybell property. Did Fremont County not ask the Idaho... What? Did Fremont County not ask the Idaho Attorney General to conduct this investigation? Yeah, we covered all that. I mean, I can explain it if he's confused again. But basically, he's just, how many times have I said this? He's throwing Dookie at the wall to see what sticks. Now, what I think happened here, all right, and this kind of, again, now I'm on the speculation. This is my speculation about what happened. Rob Wood knew they were about to release the report. Rob Wood told Pryor and Means what that report said. Mark Means got a little panicky and is trying to throw us off the scent. All right, this is classic deflection. We're going to talk about the Fremont County prosecutor. We're going to talk about cell phones and calls being recorded. We're going to talk about all this other stuff. We're not talking about Tammy Daybell's autopsy, though, because we're going to make you look over here, because we don't want you to look at the autopsy report. I want you to look at this stuff instead. Okay, that's what I think is happening. He's deflecting away from the fact that this autopsy report is out, and I'm pretty sure he knows what's in it. So, it's just one of those things where It's just trying to distract your attention away from the fact that the autopsy report has been dropped and it's not looking good. It's not. Jamie Smith, thank you for the super chat. You're right. Nothing is sticking. Nothing is sticking. He's trying really hard, but it's not sticking. His Twitter game is not so good. He could use some help with the his Twitter game for sure. These Mark, when I say nothing is sticking, what I'm talking about is Mark Means' attempts to detract our attention away from like Tammy's autopsy report to other issues like the cell phone and all of that. That's the stuff that's not sticking. All right, this case, like Leigh Shell just says, the wheels turn very slowly. It'll stick. I believe it's going to stick. Now, we did a thought experiment today in Discord. All right, and this is something I want to bring to you because I want you to stop and think about it for a minute because it's an interesting thing. Imagine that you're on the jury and you're sitting there and you have to decide if Lori is guilty or innocent of the current charges. And remember, these only charges we're talking about right now are the conspiracy to conceal, destroy, or alter evidence. One charge for JJ and one charge for Tylee. All right. Is there anything that you can think of in this entire universe that could make the situation play out where Lori is not guilty of conspiring with Chad, Alex, and possibly other unnamed persons to conceal, destroy, or alter the remains of JJ and Tylee? I can't. We tried. We tried very hard to come up with different scenarios where maybe somehow she didn't know it was happening. That's, in my mind, that is just not possible. It's not possible. So, I don't know what kind of defense they think they have for this. John Pryor is a bit of a pit bull or a bully, however you want to say that. Generally, that's, if you're the one in trouble, you want that in a defense attorney, but he's very unlikable from our point of view, of course. But how is he going to say that Chad was not part of a conspiracy when Chad was in his yard with Alex burying the remains on both of the days? Even texting his wife, Tammy, about it. Well, about something else, technically. But how on earth are you going to defend that and say he wasn't part of the conspiracy? That's just not possible. So I really, really cannot fathom what Pryor and Means are going to say as a defense. What are they going to say? How are they going to defend Chad and Lori and say they weren't part of a conspiracy to conceal, destroy, and alter the remains of those children when they were removed from Lori's house and then ended up in Chad's backyard? There's nothing. And, I watch a lot of true crime stuff. I watch all the, true crime and even fake crime movies like, what's that TV show? Criminal Minds. Love Criminal Minds. Love it. I've seen a lot of crazy true crime and Criminal Minds type stuff where I can come up with some really convoluted scenarios. I cannot come up with one for this case where I can even begin to try to play devil's advocate and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe they didn't do this. Maybe this happened or maybe that happened. I can't, because the only thing that I can come up with is some random person off the street broke into Lori's apartment the night they were all sleeping, meaning Lori, Melanie, David, right? They were all asleep. Some random guy off the street breaks in, kidnaps JJ, leaves very quietly and doesn't wake anyone up, and happens to pick Chad's yard to bury him in? Come on, man. Come on. That didn't happen. There is no way that Chad and Lori did not know this was happening. There's just no way. And considering that they both called Melanie Gibb right after the fact and told her to lie to law enforcement about where JJ was, they're done. Why do we even have to go to trial? Why are we even going to trial? That's what gets me about these current charges. Okay, now I'm not talking about the murder stuff. That'll be later on down the line, assuming, I'm assuming it will be. But for right now, there's no defense. There's no defense at all. So Mark Means all of these things on Twitter, although I totally agree that her right to having privileged conversations with her counsel should be protected. And I also agree that should be an easy fix, working with the jail. I think what he's doing here is just trying to put flashing lights in every other direction so we stop talking about Tammy. That's it. That's what I think is happening here. The tweets seem to lack a bit of substance, although let's give him credit. I'm going to give Mark Means credit here. He did not go on an attack. He didn't say anything about the woodcocks. He wasn't putting pictures of rats up. So these are better than his previous tweets. So, okay, I give you credit for that. You're definitely getting better with your tweeting thing. But this seemed a bit panicky to me. It seemed a bit over the top. And it really seemed like deflection. Almost consciousness of guilt level deflection. So that's something to think about. All right? I would have expected... Actually, I wrote what I thought, because I've been thinking about this all day. This has been on my mind heavily. And I would, if I were Mark Means, I would have said this in my tweet. I would have tweeted and I would have said, Fremont County Sheriff's Office has released the final autopsy report for Tammy Daybell. Although the findings are not being made public due to the ongoing investigation into her death, and they are not part of the current charges against my client, I am glad to see the resolution of this issue. My client maintains her innocence, and we will address the findings of Tammy Daybell's autopsy when the report is made available to my office. I extend my continued condolences to the family of Tammy Daybell. Okay? That's what I would have said if I were Lori's defense attorney. Now, to me, that says everything you need to say without doing this kind of, please look over here kind of a thing. So, maybe he should hire me to be his social media director. I could do that. I'm good at writing tweets, I guess. Oh, man. But it's a problem. It's a problem. So, Gypsy Girl says, I don't think it's plausible that Wood has shown Means to pry the results of the autopsy before charges have even been filed. There's no reason to do that until the charges have been filed. Well, I that's what I thought too, Gypsy Girl, until I was speaking to a criminal defense attorney today who said, yeah, of course he told him. I was like, what? Why would he do that? Would he want to keep it private? He's like, no, because what the prosecutor wants is for them to plead guilty, to confess, to take their punishment and go to jail, go to prison, and not have to go through a years-long trial and spend millions and millions of dollars to try and prove it beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury. Right? It would be so much better for the state if they could just confess, right? So if this autopsy report is damning, then he would have shown it to them and be like, listen, this is kind of your last chance. If you don't plead now, this is going to come out and it's going to be really bad. So this could be your chance to plead out of a death penalty situation, and just go with life in prison. Otherwise, we're going to take this and you're going to be in trouble. So that's what the criminal defense attorney that I talked to today said, and it made a whole lot of sense to me, that he would have shown this to them. Plus, nope, never mind, can't say that. Oops. Oh, I almost did a big oopsie there. So we're going to have to wait and see. All of this conversation now, this is all speculation. Okay, please understand that. I am speculating about what I think happened, what other people think happened. We're going to have to wait and see. So let me check on chat, because I've been talking and I haven't seen anything of what you guys have had to say. AF says, hopefully he watches and learns to stop. He doesn't need to comment. Look at Pryor. He isn't talking. AF, I hope so, because certainly it diminishes their position when they're trying to have a go at Rob Woods for some of Rob Woods' behavior. Rob Woods talking to Summer Shiflett and Zulema Pastenes, accusing them of coaching and all this other stuff. When Mark Means is posting pictures of fleeing rats, calling out Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, they're witnesses in the case. You can't do that. And you certainly can't do that and then turn around and have a go at the prosecutor for having a private conversation that you guys surreptitiously recorded. So I mean, it's very hypocritical in my mind, and I find that incredibly frustrating. One thing that I hate more than anything is hypocrisy to that degree. So I find that hypocritical. But and then not to mention that we had Garrett Smith on the stand preaching all his stuff about ethics and morals and values and and justice and the rule of law, when Garrett Smith is the one who, number one, surreptitiously recorded the conversations, and B, has a list of ethics violations and stuff against his record a mile long, and C, really didn't answer the questions on the stand. He was very sketchy in his testimony. That is my opinion. And now he also has settled a $12 million defamation lawsuit against Brandon Boudreaux. how much stock do you really put in Garrett Smith preaching to you about ethics? Not much, So, oh, man. Yeah, if Mark Means keeps going, there could eventually become a gag order in the case. There certainly could be. Look what happened with the Jennifer Dulos case and the defense attorney, Fotis Dulas's defense attorney. Oh, goodness. He was out there spewing conspiracy theories and, oh, it's a Gone Girl situation and all of this garbage all over the media. That guy was awful. Now, maybe that's a good tactic for a defense attorney. I don't think so. But the judge had to put a gag order, and he violated the gag order and still came out and said more garbage like that. So, yeah, I get that people generally don't like the defense attorneys, but we have seen some good ones. Skylar Richardson's case, her defense attorneys, they were fantastic. They played by the rules. They had a high bar of their ethics and their behavior, and they were wonderful, okay? But when we get this stuff, when we start turning social media into a tool in our defense kit, I think we've lost the plot a little bit. I really do. I have been rather unhappy with most of Mark Means' tweets. He knows that. You've seen me go at him on Twitter. I do not hold back too much. Mainly because I want to see Lori be convicted, of course, but I want her to have a fair trial. I want her to be convicted in such a way that it will never be undone in appeal. That it is ironclad conviction. And when I see lawyers doing stuff like this, I get nervous. I don't want her to walk on a technicality like not having privileged communications. That's why I got so upset about that. Not that I think Lori deserves a cell phone and she's so wonderful and pretty. No, but I don't want her to walk because she didn't have the right to prepare for her defense because she couldn't talk to her lawyer. Do you see? It's not that I'm saying Lori deserves special treatment. Not at all. She deserves the exact treatment she is supposed to have, so her conviction cannot possibly be overturned for any reason. Not at all. So when I'm looking at Mark Means' body of tweets, not just these from yesterday, but all the other ones, I'm like, oh, goodness. How is that going to play out in the long term? Exactly, Brennan Tube. Ineffective assistance of counsel. I do not want to see that come up. I do not. Which is why I think all these attorneys should just be quiet. Stop tweeting. I said in Discord earlier today, I said, Mark Means should hire me as his social media director. For $400 a week, I will run all of his social media accounts. I will use proper grammar, proper punctuation, proper spelling, and I will only tweet as necessary and appropriate. You know what that means? I get $400 a week for sitting here doing nothing because he should not be tweeting at all. Very easy job. I can do that job perfectly. So yeah, that's what I think about that. Oh, take care, Zelda. Yep, it must be squeaky clean. I agree. Thank you for being here, and you take care. I'll talk to you soon. Oh man. Yeah, this is definitely one of the most insane cases I've ever seen, and we've only seen half of it, or less than half of it. There's so much going on. Chelsea, I think I did offer to proof his motions and things because I cannot stand reading court documents with misspellings and typos, and I cannot stand that. So yeah, Mark Means, if you are listening, I will proof all of your motions. I'll do all that stuff for you because you got to at least put your best face forward, and I'll help you do that. Well, I'm not trying to help Lori, but I will help you as a lawyer because you know what, guys, you may hate me for this, but Mark Means is a decent guy. He is a decent guy. Unfortunately, his client is some of the worst type of person we have ever seen. I think Lori Vallow is as evil as the day is long. She really is. She really is. And nothing is going to change my mind on that. Okay, it's just not going to happen. But I can see Mark Means separate from his client. He is not his client. Okay, he's not. He's a decent guy. He has a lot of principles. He has a lot of, ideals that he wants to reach. Unfortunately, I do think he might be a little smitten by Lori, and that's clouding his judgment a bit. But I don't want to see his career go down the tubes because of Lori Vallow. That's just another one of her casualties. I think he's a nice guy, and that shouldn't happen to him, and I feel bad for him. But at the same time, I don't want to help him win the case because I don't want Lori out. But I can certainly help him shore up his documents. I'm good at spelling, so yeah. All right, Sue Bell. Sue Bell rings. Awen, have you heard Colby has moved to Rexburg? I'm going to talk about this a little bit in a very limited way. Colby has moved to Rexburg. Yes, he has. And he's doing YouTubes on his live streams on his YouTube, which is the Ryan family now. He's renamed it. I think that's a horrible idea. I think that is a very, very bad idea. I don't think Colby understands how YouTube works and how the YouTube true crime community works. We saw what happened in the Watts case and other cases like that. I just do not want Colby to go through that. The YouTube crowd can turn on you on a dime, and it can be dangerous. And I wish he would just stop. This is an ongoing case. We haven't even been to trial yet. He is most likely going to be called as a witness. He needs to be quiet and get off YouTube. Certainly not show his child on the internet. For the love of God, Colby, if you're listening, please don't do that again. That's your child. Keep her safe. Keep her secret. The way they say in Lord of the Rings, keep it secret, keep it safe. Shut your mouth. Get off YouTube. It's not a safe place for you. I know it may feel like that because you got all these people in chat pouring out their love and support for you, but they will turn on you and they will devour you in a heartbeat. Okay? It's not a safe place. I know some other creators are reaching out to him to do live streams. I will never do that. I have told you guys from day one, I will never interview anyone involved in an ongoing case or an ongoing trial. Will not do it. Not family members, not friends. Never going to happen on this channel. After the case, sure, that's a whole different thing. When the case is done and sealed, different. But in the middle of it, absolutely not. That is a horrible idea. And I'm really concerned for Colby because I think Colby is a little too trusting and naive, and he's a great guy. He's very open-hearted, but I don't think he understands just how YouTube can be. So I'm concerned for him. Very worried for him, especially his daughter. That does not need to be on the internet. I mean, my kids are 26 and 20. Have any of you seen either of my children on my YouTube channel? They're adults, and I still don't put them on YouTube. So, there's a reason for that. There's a big reason for that. So, yeah. It doesn't compute that he went to Rexburg because, okay, so he moved to Rexburg. Great. The trial is probably not going to stay in Rexburg. Right, pretty soon we're going to have the motion to change venue. It's probably going to be moved to maybe Boise or something. Why on earth would you move to Rexburg? You should have waited till that happened. So, I don't know. Do you think he'll get paid for his interviews? I don't think so, Subel. I know a lot of the big TV news channels do not pay for their interviews. I don't think YouTube creators have enough money to pay someone to do an interview. I certainly don't. Then again, I have a really small channel compared to some of the others. But I would hope not. But I know that one person, when Colby did his GoFundMe months ago, I remember after the whole car fiasco, the car got repossessed or taken by the authorities or something. The car that Lori had got for Colby had gotten taken away. And he did a GoFundMe because he needed some money. He had a baby on the way, getting married, all that stuff. There were a lot of people on YouTube who came for Colby for doing that GoFundMe. A lot of people, and it was ugly. Maybe Colby wasn't on YouTube. Maybe he didn't realize that was happening. But please just stay off YouTube. I don't know if Dateline pays. I don't think so. There may be travel and accommodations, but I don't know if they actually pay. That would be something interesting to find out, Carolyn. We'll have to look into that. Kayla says, why can't the jail where Lori is have a room they can go into discussing? They do. Kayla, they do have a room for that. They absolutely have rooms where there are no recording devices and stuff. However, the jail doesn't want them to use it because of the COVID restrictions that are in place. That's the problem. The problem is that the pandemic restrictions are preventing them from using those facilities at the jail. So they need to find a workaround, a better way to do that. And they're unhappy with the rooms the other rooms they have to talk through glass via a phone because there are cameras that can record it. The audio could be recorded. It's not a secure, private place for them to talk. And that is a concern. And I do understand that concern. So, I'm not sure what the best answer is for that. I don't see why they can't just, sanitize the room. Make sure Mark has had a negative COVID test, and then let him go and talk to Lori. When they come out, sanitize the room again. What's wrong with that? I don't know. So, have you tried to talk to Colby about saying? I would love to. I don't know exactly how to reach him privately. I do follow him on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, but at the same time, I don't want to come off like I'm pressuring him to do or not do something. I just wish that he was aware of how dangerous being on YouTube can be, especially for a family member involved in what's going to be the biggest trial that we've had in decades. He has a beautiful wife. He has a gorgeous child. He has a lot of loss that he's still processing, and it's all going to come back up as this goes to trial. YouTube is not the place for him to work that out. It's really not, because people are not nice. They are not. They can profess their undying love for you one day, and the next day they're doxing you and sitting out in front of your house. It's just not safe. And I think he's a little naive when it comes to that. Hopefully he will see reason and maybe decide to back down a little bit. However, I also see that maybe he's looking at YouTube as a decent source of income, which it can be. And he certainly lost a lot, and he may need a little cash. And hey, make a YouTube channel. That's a great idea. I support anyone who wants to make a YouTube channel to try and supplement their income. But maybe not as the daughter or son of Lori Vallow, because it's just not going to end well. I see it coming. I see the train wreck coming, and it scares me. But maybe he could do a YouTube video about something completely unrelated that does not show his child or where they live. Maybe YouTube from your car instead of your living room. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, there are a lot of crazies. Yep. Oops, sorry, I coughed and muted my microphone and then didn't unmute. Sam said, lawyers need to test negative for COVID before they go in the separate room to meet with their clients. Yeah, I think that's absolutely appropriate. I don't know what's going on with this jail, where Lori is, but there's some issues. But I think the best bet would be for Mark Means to meet with the officials of the jail and try to come up with something that's appropriate. They may, think a cell phone is appropriate, and well, if it's limited and held back by the warden whenever she's not using it, and she can only talk to Mark Means on it, and other privacy issues are resolved, such as Mark Means cannot have somebody sitting in his office with him when he calls Lori on the cell phone, so Lori can talk to them. That can't happen. So there are a lot of issues with the cell phone that make it maybe not the best idea. So maybe Brandon could bring him off $1 million or so. Yeah. As far as the Brandon settlement, just because the settlement has been, submitted to the court and he did win the $12 million settlement, that doesn't mean they cut him a check for $12 million on the spot. Okay. It may be a long time before he sees any of that money, and he's certainly not going to get all of it. His lawyers will have to be paid and all that kind of stuff. But hopefully he'll get some sort of income from that settlement. But no, he did not just walk out of there with a $12 million check. Unfortunately, that would be kind of nice, Oh, sorry. So thirsty. All right, let's see. Kavita says, I've already left a couple comments, but they roll so fast. Hi, Ewan. Great to be on with you. Hi, Kavita. I'm glad you're here with me. I'm glad I caught this comment. So, yes, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Lay says, he said God told him to. Wait, who said God told him to do what? What did I miss? What other family does Colby have in Rexburg now besides his mom? I don't know, because I don't think Lori's family's in Rexburg. They're not there. So I don't think he's got anyone there. Maybe he's close to Chad's kids? That would be weird. Yeah, I have no idea. Oh, man. I'm from Idaho and get tons of family there. Talk to my BFF cousin every day that still lives there. Word, Mom, what's the word on the street about this case? I would assume that everyone knows about it. I would assume. I don't know. Colby said God told him to move to Rexburg. Really? He did? Oh, good grief. Yikes. Yeah. See, I have issues with that. I do. But whatever, let's not go there. Jana says other inmates are able to meet with their lawyer. Why can't he make it work? Jana, I think a lot of lawyers and inmates right now are adapting. They're adapting to the COVID restrictions in jail, which they're using the rooms with the glass and the phones and all that, and they're not complaining about it. I guess it's just not good enough for Mark Means, because he does have a point. There are recording devices. There shouldn't be, and he does say that in his tweets that some conversations were recorded. I hope he can prove that, and if he can, then it is actually a problem. We do have constitutional rights until, while you're in jail awaiting trial. Remember, you're considered innocent by the justice system until you are proven guilty. So Lori has rights. We all do, and we don't want those rights taken away just because we don't like somebody. Because at some day we all may need those rights ourselves, right? So let's hope that. Why is my computer blinking? Stop it. There we go. But yeah, he's just, being fussy. I don't know. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, remember, he did, I think he petitioned the court in Madison County for the cell phone, but the court can't say, sure, you can have a cell phone. Or the court can say, yeah, you can have a cell phone, but the jail doesn't have to provide it because the judge cannot tell the jail what to do. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. The Weird Mom says, I keep hearing little tidbits of info. Everyone's ears are perked for info about the Daybells. My Mormon fam just want folks to stop associating them with the main church. They're disgusted with them. Yep. Mm-hmm. That is a problem. It's a problem that we've talked about from day one, how Lori and Melanie Gibb, even at the preliminary hearing on the stand, they're all saying, oh, well, we belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And the church is like, no, you don't. Don't you? Please stop mentioning us, And it's just awful. And Sarah says, everyone knows about it here. I'm in Southeast Idaho. They took the required restrictions for the plague here. People did take it seriously. Numbers are dropping like rocks. We are to no mass on Monday. Okay. After how it turned out for Chad and Lori, I'd be apprehensive about listening to what God says. Shannon, there is that. The messages that Chad and Lori got from God certainly did not lead them to a good place at all. So, but, yeah, we'll have to see what happens with Colby and that move. Have they been exiled from the church? Liz Stewart, nothing is known for sure. Some people say that Chad was excommunicated. There is no formal document that proves that. It's certainly possible. We know that Julie Rowe was excommunicated for sure. I don't know about Lori. But the Mormon Church does not normally make press releases when people get excommunicated. It's not public information. So I'm sure that's going to come out at trial. As we've seen, John Pryor has brought up the religious angle every chance he's gotten. So I'm sure that he will bring that up in the trial and we'll get to hear about it. So, yeah, it's very private information. Regardless if she got a cell phone, gives her rights to the internet. No, it doesn't. Sugar, but it does not. Even if she's allowed to have a cell phone, Mark Means in his own document said limited in use for contacting her attorney. That's not going to be, she's not going to be surfing the internet on an iPhone. She's not going to be watching YouTubes. It is limited so she can talk to him. That means that while they are not talking, her phone would most likely not be in her possession. Or it would be bricked so that it could only call his number or something like that. But he even said, Mark Means himself said that the phone would be limited use to talk to him. So, and that's not the worst. That's not the end of the world. It's not the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that the jail cannot provide a space for privileged communication. And so they let her out on bond. That would be the worst case scenario, would it not? I'd much rather have her in jail with a bricked cell phone that she can only talk to Mark Means on than walk in the streets or even on an ankle monitor at home. So, Tracy says, I thought she had a tablet, doesn't have internet. It does have internet. I would assume that's also limited. However, that would be through the jail's Wi-Fi system, which is not secure for her to have a private communication with her attorney. If it's going through the jail's Wi-Fi, they can still access it. So, Pam Parm-Dari says, hey, when this is a bombshell for Lori and Chad, would love to be a fly on the wall in the jail cell. Mark Means has been an idiot like he is. Mr. Pryor, don't like him, but He will in an intelligent way. At least Pryor's being quiet. He's not tweeting all over social media. However, if I had to choose between the two, John Pryor and Mark Means, who I'd like to sit down and have a coffee with, it'd be Mark Means. Because John Pryor triggers my PTSD something fierce, especially during the last hearing that we watched live together. I was kind of flipping out after listening to his self-righteous, indignant attitude. And I can't with him. I can't. That is the exact same demeanor that my narcissist ex had whenever I caught him in a lie. That same, oh, how dare you insult me with this, da 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 da, when I knew 100% he was lying. That's the same vibe that I get off John Pryor. I can't handle it. I just can't. So yeah, I don't get that from Mark Means. I think Mark Means is a little naive. I think he's a little in over his head, but he's a decent guy. And I know you guys don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear me say it, and you don't want to think it, but it's true. If we had known Mark Means before this case, he'd probably be like a friend and be like, hey, I got my lawyer buddy to come on and talk about this new case we're watching, and it would be great. But because he's Lori's attorney, that taints the whole thing, and that makes me a little sad because that's not fair. Remember the Kirk Nurmi? Kirk Nurmi was Jodi Arias' defense attorney in her last trial. He even wrote a book about what it was like and what he has suffered as a result of having to represent this crazy person. And it was not pretty. But we learned a lot about defense attorneys and how critical their role is to the functioning of our society. It's very important. So, no, it's not true. Awen, your opinion is a fact. When did I say my opinion was fact? What did I say that's wrong? Let's tell me. I'm in the mood for a good debate. The tablet is a JPay tablet. You can send and receive pics and short videos, receive money on books, and send and receive emails. Very lockdown close. Oh, cool. That's good to know. Thank you, Weird Mom. Excellent. Means is an idiot. No, Lady Kate, he's not an idiot. I don't think he is. He's actually quite intelligent. He's not doing lawyer things that we may hope he'd be doing, and he certainly flies off the cuff when he gets upset. But he's not an idiot. He isn't. So if you want to believe he's an idiot, you're free to. I'm not going to say that, and I'm not going to agree with you. So the tweet about the woodcocks changed my mind. That one, Shannon, I went off on him for that, and I even have a video about it. I was very angry about that tweet. Very angry. Lady Kate, this is my YouTube channel. I'm allowed to have my opinion. If you don't like it, you don't need to be here. It's very simple. However, Mark Means is not an idiot. I don't go around calling people idiots very easily. So, whatever. It's okay. There. Bye. Anyway. Awen is a witch. Oh, great. And she's blocked. I don't know who that is, but they're annoying to me. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. Oh, anyway, so, yeah, the tweet about the woodcocks, I still think that he owes them a public apology for that tweet. And I will hold his feet to the fire for that, for sure. That was out of line. It was unprofessional. It was downright defamatory, and he should apologize publicly for that tweet. I hope he will someday. I hope he will. So we'll have to see. Anyway, Anthony, let me see if I can find it. I'll show it on the stream. It was not nice. I don't even want to show it on the stream. That's how mean it was. Basically, after the preliminary hearing that Chad had earlier last year, the Woodcocks were there, right? And in the meantime, during the preliminary hearing, they were filming for that remember that the special that we saw on Investigation Discovery, the ID channel, right? They were making that documentary they were following the Woodcocks through this whole process of learning the children were missing and trying to find them. And even when they learned that the children's remains had been found, and then going to the preliminary hearing. So they were filming all of this stuff. So when Kay and Larry got to the courthouse for the preliminary hearing for Chad, when they got out of the truck, they took off all of their recording devices because they were wired. Right, because they had the cell phone camera in the car that was filming them as they talked on the drive and all that stuff, which we saw footage of in the documentary. They get to the courthouse, they take off all the recording equipment and stash it, and then go into the courthouse. Mark Means tweeted that he thought that they got caught by the, I guess, bailiffs or whatever at the courthouse for trying to sneak in recording equipment. That is not what happened at all. Emily, welcome to Reese's Pieces. I'm so glad to have you on board. That's cool. 3 more channel members, and we get to unlock a new emoji slot for the channel, which I'm very excited for. This will be for channel users. We have some, let's see, we got a bunch of them. We got Kool-Aid, we got a potato head, donuts, the Welsh dragon, of course, s'mores, a bunch of channel member only emojis to play with. So we can add more. We get a few more channel members, so that's fun. So anyway, back to Mark Means. So he was tweeting that they tried to surreptitiously record this preliminary hearing and sneak in their recording equipment, and how dare they? And I'm like, dude, the preliminary hearing was broadcast. If they wanted to record it, they could come to my YouTube channel and get the recording. I have it. Everybody has it. It would broadcast. It was public. They didn't need to surreptitiously record it. That's nonsense. You know, oh, it was awful. I was so upset that he did that. But trying to make it sound like they did something terrible and wrong when they did nothing. You know, these are the grandparents of a little boy who was murdered and buried in some wacko's backyard. And he's dragging them like that on Twitter. That was not cool. So I yelled at him very loudly for that on Twitter, on a YouTube. I think I made a live stream right after I read that. I was so pissed off. So yeah, I will call Mark Means out in a heartbeat when he does something like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, trying to defend anything like that. But aside from that slip and, the one about the rats and things, he's not a horrible guy. I think he's in over his head. He doesn't know how to deal with this sort of case. I really don't. But we'll just see what progresses. I just got a whole bunch of notifications on Twitter, so I just want to check and see if you had tweeted something new that I missed. Because you never know. You never know what's going on Mark Means' Twitter. I like to keep up to date on it. Yeah, the last tweet that I haven't shown on screen is he said, "How credible is the state's case? Bush League tactics are never needed when you're in the right." Oh, good grief. Good grief. Bush League tactics, to me, would seem more of like the surreptitious recording that Garrett Smith made of Rob Wood's private conversation with Summer and Zulema, and the way that they release that information and all of that. That, to me, is Bush League tactics. Not releasing a statement that says, "Oh, hey, we finished the autopsy report, released to authorities." That's not Bush League tactics. It's really not. That's them doing what they do. And it's perfectly normal. Oh, man. All right, so there's a lot going on with the case, but it's all behind the scenes right now. All right, Rob Wood is in a unique position now that he's got the information on Tammy. We don't know what it says. We have no idea. I am absolutely speculating that it is inculpatory against Chad. 100%, I think it is. Could I be wrong? Of course I can be wrong. I don't know these things. I don't have the ability to peek over Rob Wood's shoulder and read the document, though I wish I did. So we'll have to wait and see. When do you think we'll find out something? I would guess very soon. It's going to be very hard for them to sit on this autopsy report. It really is, because people really, really want to know. Victoria Schmidt, welcome to the team. I'm so glad you joined. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Yay. 2 more to go, and we get our new emoticon. Very cool. No, I think we'll hear about it before it goes to trial. I do, because we're going to have issues. All right. First, I don't think Tammy's autopsy report is going to be introduced in the current charges. All right. We currently have the conspiracy to conceal or destroy evidence regarding Tylee and JJ. Tammy's death doesn't have much to do with that. Right. So I don't think this is going to come up if the current charges stay the same. I think we're going to see a bomb of new charges. I think we're going to have Tammy's charges. We're going to have conspiracy to commit murder for Tylee and JJ. I expect to see that pretty soon. I would be surprised if this goes on much longer before that happens. Now, as you guys know, I've been saying since day one, it's going to take a long time for charges. Just be patient. Just wait. Everybody calm down. And now I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying, yep, a couple days. Come on, let's go. Charges. Let's go. Chop, chop, chop. Give me my charges. So, I'm waiting to see that. Shelley, the children have not been given a proper burial yet. The family has said as soon as the remains are released to them, they will have a thing, I think in Louisiana. Isn't that what Kay said? I'll have to ask. Kresha or Kay is around. We can ask them when that's going to happen. I believe that's going to be in Louisiana. I'm pretty sure. But I will check on that and find out for you, because hopefully they'll do a nice service where they can broadcast it and we can all watch it live and be part of it from here, because we need that closure. We do. I know that we're not family. We are not related. Most of us have never met any of these people, but our hearts still feel as though we're part of this group, and I would love to be part of a beautiful service for Tylee and JJ. I really would. So hopefully that'll happen. There's a link that just came up to the LoriVallowStory.com. That's a link I really want you guys to click. It goes to a website that's run by Lori Hellis. She is a retired criminal defense attorney. She is one of the first people I go to when I have questions about the legalities of what's happening in this case. Amazing information. She does a free newsletter that you can sign up for on her website, and it comes to your inbox absolutely free of charge. Great information. If you want to know, why is this happening? Why is that happening? What did this filing mean? What does that mean? She explains it all in really easy to understand terms through that newsletter, and it's free. So please go click the link and sign up for it. I highly recommend it. I did spend a lot of time on the phone with her this morning because I had questions. And I did talk to her. She is willing to come on and do a live stream with me to talk to you guys about your legal questions. Because a lot of times you have really technical legal questions. I don't have any idea how to answer that. I'm not a lawyer. But it would be great to have someone on who can really answer them for us. I think that would be wonderful. So I talked to her. She's willing to do that. So we're going to get that set up, because we all have a lot of legal questions about this. This case is very convoluted. Not only do we have multiple defendants, we have multiple charges, we have multiple jurisdictions, we have multiple victims. Oh my goodness, this case is crazy. So there's a lot coming up. I do expect to see charges coming from Rob Wood. I would not be surprised to see Pryor filing to separate the cases. Remember, the motion for joinder was granted, and right about now he may be thinking, or maybe Mark Means is thinking that, depending on what's in that autopsy report, he may remove Lori from Chad. If Chad is the one named in that autopsy report as a possible suspect, who knows what's going to happen, but it's about to get crazy. So we're going to have to stay tuned and get some seatbelts in here. Do they have to turn the autopsy report over for the current case? Snow remover, I think, not entirely sure. We'll have to ask Lori Hellis this one. I think they only have to turn over the autopsy report to the defense if the state is going to use it in the current case, right? If they're not going to introduce Tammy's autopsy report in the current case with the conspiracy charges, I don't think they have to turn it over to the defense. They only have to turn over information they're going to use in the case. I think. Could be wrong, but that is my understanding. Can that be denied, switching it up and wanting to say, yes, Leishel, it can be denied. Yes, it can. I'm sure Rob Wood would fight against that, and they'd have to have a hearing, and the judge would have to rule on it. So we'll see. That may change if one of them decides to roll over on the other. We're going to have to wait and see. But it is a crazy case. It's legally just as crazy as everything else involved in the case. There's so much going on. But yeah, I feel good about this autopsy report release. In summation of the last hour that we've been talking, I feel like what happened yesterday is kind of saying that this report is a big deal. It's a big deal. I would pretty much guess that it's going to lead to charges. If they come out tomorrow and say, oh, well, here's the report, natural causes, I will be shocked. I will be absolutely shocked. Sure, it's possible. I really don't think that's what's happening. I really don't. I don't think they would have gone through all the formalities of turning the case back over to Fremont County prosecutors from the AG's office. I don't think they would have done any of that if it was just natural causes. I don't think Mark Means would have been flipping out on Twitter last night if it was just natural causes. Okay, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. That is just my opinion. Gypsy Girl, I did read the replies, and I felt bad. I felt bad for Mark Means. I did, because he got roasted. He got roasted. I felt bad for him. Yeah, that's me. I have a soft spot for Mark Means, okay? My God. I feel bad for him because I do think he's a good, principled guy in some ways, but he got involved in this mess. And as we have seen, anyone who gets involved in Lori Vallow's life gets destroyed. And I think that's what's happening. So, take that for what it's worth. But yeah. I would like the autopsy report puts the wind up Chad or Lori in one of them role. Me too, Flame Lily. That's what I'm hoping. And I think that may be what Rob Wood is hoping for, is that one of them, certainly the autopsy report would most likely, I have to say certainly, I would think certainly it would be more damning for Chad than for Lori. Chad was in the home with Tammy when she died. Not Lori. She was at her house. So I would think Chad would be the one more nervous about this report. But we certainly know from other witnesses' statements that Chad and Lori both talked about waiting for Tammy to die. She's going to die in a car accident soon. Once Tammy's gone, we can do this and that and da-da-da-da-da. So there's the conspiracy to commit murder. If this autopsy report shows that she was murdered and they can pin it on Chad, of course Lori's going to get a conspiracy to commit murder charge. Of course she is for Tammy's death as well. So it's not good for either of them. It isn't. But if I were Chad right now, I'd be pretty dang nervous. I would be eating honey buns like there was no tomorrow. Or whatever they eat in jail. Honey buns, ramen noodles, whatever. Weird Mom says, he went and jumped right out of his frying pan into his fire while holding the lighter fluid. Someone needs to take his Twitter password away. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good summation. Chrissy asked, do I think Lori's son has reached out to her? I'm not going to comment on that, mainly because I don't want to add to the stuff that's heading Colby's way as far as YouTube goes. I wish all the best for Colby, and I wish he would stay off YouTube. Not because I don't want to hear from him, but I just don't want to see him get caught up in the train wreck that it's going to be. I feel bad for everybody today. I'm just a bleeding heart kind of person today. Normally I'm take no prisoners, but today I'm like, oh, poor Mark. Oh, poor Colby. Oh, I'm not saying poor Lori or Chad, though. No, screw those people. But everyone else. I think Chad will start talking if he thinks he may be up for murder. Kay Ellis, I would agree. And I would think that's why, when I said earlier we were talking about the defense attorney I was talking to saying that for sure Rob Wood told Means and Pryor about this report if it was bad, to try and push that, to try and say, hey, if one of you start talking, you may have a better time of things. This is your last chance, so we'll see. We'll see. They don't seem to be making the most prudent, rational choices so far. So who knows if the autopsy report will change their mind, Pre-Sue says Mark Means is under Lori's spell. I do agree with that. I worry about that a lot. I think Mark Means genuinely believes that Lori's innocent or had a very justifiable reason. Right? It's quite possible that Lori has convinced people that she really believed that she had to save JJ and Tylee from their zombiehood by killing them. Melanie Gibbs seemed to believe that. Right? Maybe other people did. Maybe Mark Means believes that. And Lori has convinced people that she really believes this. Which is crazy. Any thinking person is like, that's not even possible. But maybe it is possible. Maybe. And so she thinks she was justified. At least when we have cases like Andrea Yates, the woman who drowned her children in the bathtub because she was having extreme postpartum depression and psychosis. She called the police right away and said, I just killed my children. But she knew she was having this psychosis. She knew that her thoughts, although were, controlling her at that time, she knew immediately that it was wrong, and she was able to, go through the psychology of that. Lori isn't there. It's terrible to sit here and say that Andrea Yates is better than Lori if you're going to weigh it on the scale like that. But I don't think Lori has a psychosis. I think Lori has a manipulative streak, something the likes we haven't seen very often in history. I don't think she genuinely believes that those children had to die to not be zombies. I don't think she believes that at all. But I think that's the story she's sticking to. That's what she's sticking to. But, how can you prove that? You can't really prove what somebody believes 100%. And even so, there is no insanity defense, I believe, in Idaho, so she can't even plead insanity. She can't even plead it, so why bother trying? Her belief is not going to hold up in court. Bethany, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Lori is a narcissist. Emily, I would bet $1 million, hands down, that if she had the proper testing and psych evaluations, they would show clearly that she has narcissistic personality disorder. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. What do I think she believes? I think she believes that she is pretty enough and smart enough and clever enough to convince people of anything she wants to convince them of. I think she had these notions of grandeur. She saw Chad as, ooh, he's such a successful author. Ooh, not really understanding who Chad was, just falling prey to that. Oh, he's a published author. Oh, he's so special. Oh, and then realizing he had a following that she could tap into, and she wanted to be part of that. So she buttered him up. I mean, look at Chad and look at her previous husbands. Chad is not in the same ballpark as Charles Vallow and Joseph Ryan and the others. He's not. So she wanted him for something. It wasn't his good looks. It wasn't his money. Look at the mansion that she lived in with Charles, several of them, and then look at Chad's house. So what did she see in Chad? She saw the doorway to her being the next Jim Jones. You know what I mean? They wanted to lead this 144,000. They wanted to think they were that special. They were chosen by God, handpicked to lead the 144,000. And I see Chad as having maybe, fun dreams about this and writing all his little books, but he was kind of content to just stay where he was until Lori came along and talked him up and told him, oh, you're so much better than that. You're going to lead us. You're going to be the new prophet. Oh, Chad. Oh, you're awesome. Her baby voice that she uses. Oh, Chad. And he bought it. He was like, really? You think I am? Oh my God. That's love bombing. That's what love bombing can do to you. It can make you think crazy. And I think she did that to Chad. And he said, yeah, you know what? I am going to lead the 144,000. I am going to be the prophet. Let's do this. And they fed on each other in a symbiotic relationship of doom that led to what happened. I don't think if they had never met, I don't think Chad would have killed anyone. I think Lori would have. And I think she did before they met. That's my own opinion about Joseph and Charles's death. But Chad and Lori together, that's glycerin, it really is. And it just exploded. And now we have all these dead people. So that's what I think about Chad and Lori and the dynamic of their relationship. I think everything she does is fake in regards to this whole thing. She doesn't believe in zombies. She doesn't believe that she was married to Moroni. Of course she doesn't believe that. But it's a useful belief to spout off to get people to follow her, So, it's just crazy. Let's see. Martin Means keeps running his mouth like this. Mr. Wood could deprivation of character. Yep. Certainly, there could be some ethics issues coming up if Mark Means doesn't get it under control on Twitter. Gypsy Girl says, unlike a public defender, he has the right to leave if he wants. He isn't stuck with Lori like Nurmi was stuck with Arias. I think he still has to petition the judge if he wants to leave the case, Gypsy Girl. That's what Lori Hellis told me. So he's not entirely free to leave. He would have to petition the judge, but I think it would be easier than if he was a public defender. Let's see. Do you think Lori knew initially how her, Tylee, and JJ were murdered? Do I think Lori knew how? Of course, I think she knew. I think she was part of it. Personally, that's my opinion. Um, do you think the Daybell children know? I don't. The Daybell children, that's a whole nother issue, Sherry. Some of the Daybell children seem like normal, sensible people, but a couple of them, like Emma and her husband, they are not nice. So I can't imagine what they think. I really can't. I know that Emma thinks her father is wonderful. At least she did at one point. She was tweeting all kinds of stuff, and who knows? Who knows? If the autopsy results aren't being released, do they at least tell her parents? I would assume so. I would assume that Rob Wood would have that discussion with them. Ooh, there's my phone. Let's see. Summer was trying to call and speak with the judge because Mr. Smith lied. Yeah, Ashley, that was a very interesting. We watched the hearing the first day of the motion to disqualify Rob Wood, and then the next morning, or no, the day after, there was a break, and then the next day. So 2 days after the first day, there were all kinds of new motions because they wanted Summer to come on as a witness because Summer. It appears that Summer must have watched that the first day of the hearing and decided, oh, no, that is not what happened. I'm going to come on and tell my story. And she was going to come on as a witness for Rob Wood, not for Garrett Smith, who was at the time her attorney. So, wow, and I was sitting here thinking, oh, I want to talk to Summer so bad. What does she want to say? What does she want to say? Because Garrett Smith changed his story several times between the affidavit he filed to the court, the stuff he said on the stand, and even between earlier in the day questioning and later in the day. He said two different things. He contradicted his own testimony. And I couldn't believe that Rob Wood's attorney didn't call him out for that, but he didn't. I don't know why. Summer and Mr. Wood sue for deprivation of character on prior and means. Mr. Mean, yeah. Yeah, the thing with Garrett Smith was a train wreck. His entire testimony was a train wreck. Summer wanted to come on and clear something up clearly with the court. She wanted to be there, but the judge did not allow it because it was submitted too late. I had mixed feelings about that. I think if somebody is being discussed in a hearing as having said or not said this, that, or the other thing, that person should be allowed to come in and say what they need to say, if they feel they need to say it. But that's not how the law works, so we just have to accept it. But yeah, Summer wanted to come on and say some stuff. Mm-hmm. Yep. But we didn't get to hear it, so I can't imagine what she was going to say. But it seemed to me that Garrett Smith was trying to hide exactly what went down with this recording, when he turned it on, who knew about it, all that kind of stuff. So I think she was going to blow that one right out of the water. Which is why, the defense fought against that tooth and nail. Oh, no, she can't come on. Oh, no. It's like, but you're talking about her. You spent 2 days talking about her. And now she can't come on and tell you what happened? That's not cool. That was shady, sketchy. And I'm surprised the judge let that happen. But, whatever. I can't imagine what someone wanted to say. Yeah, I can kind of too. And I really was hoping she would have. I don't know what Smith was saying. I think a lot of, Smith just seemed to think that he's smarter than everyone else in the room, but he was as sketchy a witness as I've ever seen on the stand. He really was. And then in the middle of his testimony, now granted, this is a Zoom hearing, which is like the issue Jess and I talked about the other day. He's there in his living room on a Zoom hearing, and somebody knocks on the door, and he's like, oh, excuse me, Judge, I got to go answer my door. What, you're getting an Amazon delivery in the middle of your testimony? You can't do that if you're on the stand in a courtroom, but you can do it in your living room. That was just so not cool, so unprofessional. And this is why I dislike these Zoom hearings. Although I think it's a great way for us as even YouTubers to be able to put it on the screen and watch it live together and share it with our viewers. That's wonderful for that, but it creates a whole lot of other issues for sure. So yeah, pre-sue, we all thought that. Well, not we all, but certainly Jess and I thought that judge was a little too, complacent, letting him, a lot of John Pryor's statements seemed threatening to the court. Like, well, Your Honor, if you do this, then we're just gonna have to do da 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 da. Like, you don't say that to the court. What's wrong with you? You know, his whole demeanor and attitude just was like, You know, he should have been shut down pretty quick. I think Judge Edens would have, said something about that for sure. But there were 20 different oral arguments allowing Summers' testimony, and Wood's attorney picked wrong. Yeah, Yeah, I wasn't that impressed with that either. Definitely. Couldn't believe the way Pryor was talking to the court. Surprised the judge didn't. Oh, yeah, me too, Anthony. I really was. Very lenient with Pryor. Yep. Catnet just put a link to Jess Nelson's channel. She has a channel called Know Better, Do Better with Jess. It's really great. I love listening to Jess's videos, so go give her a follow. That would be wonderful. John Pryor comes across as overcompensating so much. Yes, he does. He really does. Oh, all right, so that's all the news that's going on right now. Let me do one more check of Twitter before we leave, just in case he tweeted something else, because you never know. Nope, nothing new in the Twitter sphere. Nothing new from the court. All right, so stay tuned. All right, please consider subscribing to the channel and ringing the notification bell. I expect next week to kind of pop off in this case. I really do. I could be totally wrong, so don't come for me if it doesn't happen. But I would not be surprised to see some new charges next week, some new filings from the defense team, all kinds of stuff popping off next week. So somebody said when the next court date. Sugar Butt is February 17th. There is the motion to compel hearing unless something else comes up before then, which is quite possible. So please stay tuned to the channel. Please consider following me as a channel member or on Patreon, doing some behind-the-scenes stuff. We have a big project that's about to kick off, and we'll be involving some Patreon members and stuff in that. So I'm here. Join us in Discord. I will have to get you a working link. I'm going to have one of the mods do that because clearly I keep messing it up. So my mod Mira, if you're watching, can you please help that? Give me the proper link, and I'll get it linked in the description below so you can join us in Discord. We have voice chat in Discord, video chat, text chat, all the documents, all that good stuff. It's a great place to be. All right, so thank you, everyone, for the support. Thanks to all the mods for being here. You guys are the best. You keep me going. You keep chat going and make it such a welcoming place for everyone to come and talk. I appreciate you all so much. All right, so there you go. If you need to reach me, all my details are in the description. Follow me on Twitter. I don't use Instagram, so don't bother with that. I don't even know how to use it. But anyway, I will talk to you soon, and I'll let you know as soon as anything breaks in the case. So take care and stay safe out there.